So something snapped last week, and it wasn't India's politics or a budget sheet or even a policy misstep. It was something older, deeper, colder, like a pressure point in the global system that finally gave way. Because when a currency breaks at this scale, when India's rupee plunges with no trigger, no headline, no geopolitical explosion, it means the real story isn't in New Delhi. It's in the plumbing of the global dollar system itself. Now, if you felt a chill run up and down your spine, that's a good thing because you're supposed to. It means you saw it, you felt it, and your instincts told you something's off. And the world, it feels increasingly brittle, increasingly wired, increasingly one spark away from a cascading failure. And you can't put your finger on exactly why. And that is why this video has to be made. And here's the part nobody's admitting, right? India was just the first canary. South Korea's won is also wobbling. Japan's yen is coughing a bit. And the Canadian dollar, the New Zealand dollar, they're all drifting toward the same cliff. Now, it's not because of speculation and not because of market overreaction, but because the world's funding engine is tightening again. Quietly, somewhat violently, predictably for sure. And this is where everything starts to flip. Because the big lie we've all been sold is that currencies move because of local fundamentals. But no, not in times like this. Not when stress is global, not just local. And especially not when the dollar system, the real one, the offshore one, the invisible one, starts pulling oxygen out of the room itself. Now, the real headline is somewhat simple, right? The dollar didn't strengthen, the world buckled. So what are the stakes here? Let's talk about these stakes because this isn't just academic. When the dollar tightens like this, somebody pays. Families in emerging markets watch groceries double. Workers whose wages don't keep up, governments forced into painful cuts, businesses that can't roll over loans, people who did nothing wrong and still get hit first, hardest, and unfortunately the longest. Structures survive, but people, they have the hardest time. So let's try to parse this down a bit because the part that makes all of this click is this, right? Because India didn't lose control of its currency. It ran out of the room to lie to the market. The Reserve Bank of India had been burning through reserves to prop up the rupee. And they kept the exchange rate stable by draining rupee liquidity from their own banking system. It's like trying to save a boat by tossing out the engine. You know, they bought themselves 2 weeks of calm and destroyed the cushion underneath their own economy. Now, is that defense? I don't think it was. It wasn't defense. That was postponement. Then Friday came, and the RBI didn't show up, and the rupee fell like a man cut from the rope. And this is what a system hitting its limits looks like. And here's where the rising action starts to begin, because India is not alone. We can look at South Korea right now. The won is sliding back towards levels not seen since the deflationary panic of early 2024. And local analysts blame overseas ETF flows. But that's like blaming the waves for the tsunami. The water moved because the fault line moved. The pressure shifted offshore. So dollar liquidity tightened and currencies that are structurally vulnerable start showing you the cracks first. So it's kind of like watching windshields fracture on a freezing highway. The first crack isn't really the problem. It's the indicator that the entire sheet of glass is under strain. Now, let's move to Japan, right? So Japan, the yen, is sitting in the waiting room, leaning against the wall, listening to the screams coming from the operating room next door. And even after massive interventions, even after political promises, Japan cannot escape the physics of dollar scarcity. Because when global lenders get nervous when risk aversion spikes, yen carry trade unwind. And the dollar demand ends up jumping and the currency ends up buckling. This is why focusing on DXY is a mistake. The index barely moved, but DXY isn't a dollar index. It's a euro index with friends. And the real story is always where the stress reveals itself first. India, South Korea, Japan, New Zealand, Canada, the places where the global cycle hits the shoreline before it reaches the actual core. So what's actually happening underneath the surface here? And for that, we have to peel back. So let's do that. Let's peel back the final layer to all this. The global dollar system is sending the same signal it sent in 2007, in 2011, in 2018, and in late 2022. A synchronized tightening, if you will, of offshore dollar availability. And every time this signal appears, the story that follows is never small. So if we look at 2008, we had a huge global credit freeze. 2011, the Eurozone crisis. And 2018, emerging market turmoil. Now, 2023 to 2024, we had global contraction scare. And this is the next rotation of that very same cycle. And every cycle begins the same way. Currencies start breaking before anyone admits the system is under strain in the very first place. So if we go deeper, India's inflation collapsing to near zero isn't just good harvests or GST changes. It's demand side weakness. It's overcapacity. It's an economy losing altitude faster than officials actually want to admit. Now strip out gold and silver, and India is already on the doorstep of deflation. Not cooling, not moderating, deflation. And deflation in a developing economy is like a vacuum forming underneath a suspension bridge. It doesn't matter how beautiful the architecture looks. The tension, it's rising, and it's rising underneath. If we look at South Korea, it's the same story. Investors quietly pulling money out. Domestic markets bracing for spillovers from China's slowdown. And officials right now are preparing contingency groups with their national pension funds. So these are not the actions of a confident economy. These are the quiet rituals of countries perform. These are the rituals they perform before an actual storm. So let me know what you guys think. Do I have this all right? Do I have it all wrong? Put it in the comment section below. I look forward to reading and replying to all of your guys' comments. And thank you guys so much for watching me here on The Baseline. Okay, cheers, everybody.